Welcome to the FNO InsureTech podcast, a place where movers and shakers from all points within the insurance ecosystem gather and discuss all things InsureTech. We talk about how technology and innovation are affecting and driving change in the industry. Here are your hosts, Matt D. Fothery, Lee Boyd, and Rob Beller.
Hey, podcast world. Welcome to another enthralling, exciting, blah, blah, blah episode of
FNO InsureTech with your host, Rob Beller.
Hey, here I am. And there's my co-host, none other than Lee Boyd.
Hello.
How are you, Lee?
Good. Why don't we do this from now on? Every episode will be exciting.
Because our listenership will go down to zero. And I don't think that's one of our goals here.
No.
So we'll just do that once so that everybody knows all of our other intros are not as bad as you thought, because they could have been just like that.
Could have been worse.
And they could have been worse, as we just proved.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a proof of concept.
Mm-hmm. Let us know if it was good or bad, because we assume
No,
bad.
please don't. Please don't. We already know the answer. Let's not ask for answers that we already know. We're not lawyers in a courtroom.
Oh.
But speaking of lawyers in courtroom, I'm going to segue from that, which has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about today or who our guest is. But I will ask you, I will do the lead in by saying this.
Okay.
You been to a zoo lately?
No, I've not been to a zoo lately. However, I've been to a lot of zoos in my life. And guess what, Rob?
What, Lee?
In Waco, Texas, we just passed a bond for a brand new penguin exhibit. We're getting a brand new penguin exhibit.
That's kind of weird. I don't think about the heart of Texas and penguins in the same thought usually.
Well, they are warm-weathered penguins, I'm told.
Is there such a thing?
The paper told me that, and the paper doesn't lie. So,
well, if it's in the Waco Tribune, then it has to be the truth. We all know that.
But I love penguins. Who doesn't love a penguin?
Who doesn't love a penguin?
Mm-hmm.
They're cute. They're clever. They're social.
And they're bold.
Lee, are you sure? So you might say you guys are getting bold penguins?
Hey, you might be.
See what we did here?
How ironic.
That's right. At long last, your favorite InsureTech podcast has on a guest from the InsureTech hit, Bold Penguin. We have with us today Marc DeLeonibus, co-founder and director of the IA terminal at Bold Penguin.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have Bold Penguin on. I mean, if you've ever been to an InsureTech conference, not just the one in Vegas, but anything about insurance or InsureTech, you've probably heard or have seen Bold Penguin. So today we're going to get to talk to them. We're going to get to figure out what the heck are they, other than just really cool guys walking around a lot of times in t-shirts at conferences. But they have a really cool business strategy. They have a really cool product. And if you're in the commercial space or you're looking for insurance in commercial, right, these are your guys.
Right. They have put together a thoughtful, insightful, clever InsureTech company that is making a tremendous amount of waves in their space, which is the small commercial area. And Marc's going to tell us all about that, where they came from, what they do, and where they're going, and answer the big question that we're all asking.
Right.
You want to say the big question, Lee?
Why Bold Penguin? Where did that come from?
What is with that? Where,
Yeah.
Not the most common name for an InsureTech, but then not the most common InsureTech. So we'll look forward to answer these things and more on the upcoming edition of FNO InsureTech, which is going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. We are here with our guest today from Bold Penguin, a company that has been on our radar for a long time, not just because of the very unusual name, but because of all the noise they're making in our industry. And we have one of the co-founders on with us today, Marc DeLeonibus. How'd I do?
Yeah, 50-50. You were better before. Marc DeLeonibus.
Marc DeLeonibus.
There you
That
go.
was
That's
terrible,
perfect.
Rob.
Okay. Full disclosure, we went through a tutorial before we started today, but apparently I failed it.
Oh,
So we'll just call you Mark.
that's perfect. That's perfect.
Welcome to F&O InsureTech. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here and excited to share some more about Bold Penguin and my story with the listeners here. So thanks for having me.
And where in the universe are you joining us from today?
So I am joining you from Annapolis, Maryland today. I was spending most of COVID down in Florida and came back up to Maryland it'll be a week ago on Saturday. And I'm immediately regretting my decision. Florida, it was,
Yeah.
the weather was nice, life was normal. I mean, it's kind of wacky how open Florida is right now, but it felt good. And I get back to Maryland, and I guess
It's cold.
It's cold, exactly.
So let's jump in and start talking about Bold Penguin, although we want to talk about COVID and Bold Penguin because I'm sure that with what you guys do, it's been an important event in your company's history. Let's start by talking about what Bold Penguin is and what you guys do.
Sure. Bold Penguin, we're the leaders when it comes to commercial connectivity. And what I mean by when I say that is we operate the largest commercial insurance exchange in the known universe that we know of. Maybe there's another one out there on another planet, but as far as we know,
Entirely possible.
Right, exactly. To break that down a bit, we see over 100,000 businesses a month who come through our exchange who are looking for insurance. And, through our technology and our process, we help each of those businesses get matched with the best agent and carrier for their insurance needs. So that means not only, making that match, but then building the connections through the APIs to the carrier partners to bring back a real-time bindable quote that agent can deliver to that customer to fill their needs. So we're focused on connecting all parties to the commercial insurance transaction, the customer, the agent, and the carrier, just to make commercial insurance just a little bit easier. So that's the arena that we play in here.
So help me understand that. If I am starting a business and I need business insurance, I, in my head, would go down to my local business insurance agent, and I assume that they have everything I need. That might not be the case. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's one of the things I realized early on in my career as an agent. My specialty when I was an agent before starting Bold Penguin was marine insurance, marine commercial insurance. And I would see so many policies that were written incorrectly because of the uniqueness of marine business. And it's not just marine business. Every business is a little bit unique, and there's agents that specialize. And that's one of the things that we look to do with our exchange is, hey, let's get that business to that agent that's uniquely qualified, not only because of their expertise, but because of the relationships they have with carriers, understanding that business and help solve for that piece. Because, there's agents that are a good fit for insuring, your restaurant that, has 5 employees, but then when you get up to 50 or more, it's another ball of wax. Or, start to have multiple locations. It just requires a different agent.
Sure. Different skills, different know-how.
Right.
So earlier on, you were talking about how the customer can interact with the agent, who can interact with the carrier. Walk us through that. So what does Bold Penguin do? If I'm trying to find insurance, how does Bold Penguin interact with me as a person looking for insurance?
Yeah, that's a great question. So businesses end up in our exchange through our partners. And when I say partners, it could be an agent, a carrier, someone that's even outside of the insurance space. Agents, like we're talking about niches, everyone has their swim lane, and you come across business that can be too big for you, too small, or you don't have the right carrier that fits them, or it's just something that's so far removed that, hey, it's not worth my time to figure out how to quote. Take marine insurance as an example. If you're not familiar with it, it's probably not worth your time to chase down that market. So we said to agents, carriers, brokers, hey, when that comes up, when it doesn't fit, send it over to Bold Penguin. Send it to us. We'll take it. We'll pay you for that. And we will get that business matched with an agent on the other side of our exchange that's held up their hand and said, hey, that wasn't your cup of tea, but that is my ideal customer. I write that all day long. So we have a team in our Columbus office of CSAs, we call them customer success advocate, that talks to every single one of those businesses, walks through information around who they are, where they're located, employees, do they have insurance, all the baseline information, but also, really verifies intent that they are a buyer. And then we deliver that consumer to that agent into our software and over the phone at the same time. So it's a very smooth process where the customer's informed the whole way. It could be sent from agents or carriers or brokers, but also channel partners that run parallel to the insurance industry. Think lending, legal, entrepreneur.com, those types as well, where insurance isn't their forte, but you have people inquiring about insurance.
So, like, to use your example of marine insurance, do you have a defined list of agents who work in marine? And so when an agent comes on and says, hey, I have this client, he needs a marine policy, you then take that lead and direct it to this other group over here who does marine? Is that what you're doing?
So there's a piece of that, but it really comes into the onboarding process and our account management team that really gets to know the agent on a very intimate level in terms of the markets that they work with, in terms of carriers, but then also what their appetite really is at a very granular level. Everything we do in terms of industry classification is built off of the NAICS classification. I think it's North American Industry Classification System.
Right. NAIC. Right.
Right. So we go all the way down to the 6-digit NAICS and really understand their appetite over time and help make those matches based upon those factors, and then how they're quoting and closing and things of that nature as well.
So I can imagine how you guys monetize all this, but why don't you explain to us who pays for it and at what points in this workflow and value chain does monetization happen?
Yeah. So the thing that I'm most excited about that we've been working on and rolled out over the past few years is really closing that loop. Not only are we delivering that customer, but that agent is able to produce a real-time bindable proposal in our system that they can review with the customer right then and there. And that's because of the integrations we've built into our various carrier partners that are on the platform. And in some cases, we act as a market access point for our agency partners. So if they don't have access to a carrier, they can get access to that carrier through Bold Penguin. And for that market access, since we have the contract with the carrier pays Bold Penguin the commission, and then we pay the agent who wrote the business, their commission out of that. And that's one of the ways we make money. Additionally, to subscribe to the software, there's a fee to subscribe to the software. So it's a traditional SaaS model in that sense.
Is it the agents that are paying that?
Yes, the agents would pay for the software to access the software and quote and bind. Correct.
I would think that, it would be a great opportunity if you're an agent.
100%, because the thing with when you're talking small commercial, and premiums that are under $10,000, if you're touching that business more than a few times,
You're not making any money.
Right. Going into 3 different carrier portals to run a quote isn't a good use of anyone's time. And we've built the software that gives them the ability to fill out one application, retrieve quotes from multiple carriers in one fell swoop. So it's pretty revolutionary in that regard.
So are you finding that brokers or agents are changing the way they do business to take greater advantage of what you have to offer?
What we've seen, and particularly during 2020, it's really ushered in. I saw this cartoon a while back of a group of people sitting in a corner office, and then there was this cartoon wrecking ball coming towards them, and it said digitization on the wrecking ball, and the person in the office said, "Oh, that's years away." But the wrecking ball also had COVID written on it. This year has ushered it in because how do you grow? If you're not meeting face to face with your customers, and they're coming to you in a digital format, they're calling on the phone. How do we continue to grow? So what we've seen agents adopt is more inside sales teams, more focused on driving their own marketing and leveraging our software to gain the efficiency over some of their competition that hasn't been as quick to adapt to the changing world here.
Let's talk for a minute about the InsureTech side. On the one hand, you're kind of like you're a matchmaker, right?
Yep.
But that's just one part of your equation. The other part is the whole InsureTech side, where you can create and bind online and do all the legwork with tech and not with people.
Correct. Yeah, and that's really, I tell people all the time, it's what I wish I had back when I was an agent. It allows you to streamline your process, focus more on being the trusted advisor, put those rules in place using technology. So if you are bringing on newer producers into an organization who aren't as familiar with commercial, or you are an agent that's transitioning from personal lines or into commercial, the technology can make it really, really easy and less intimidating. Because let's face it, commercial, it's very fragmented. It's not like personal lines. Businesses are different from one another.
Mm-hmm.
And our whole focus is how can we put the technology in place to show the agent, hey, this is how you classify this business. And we built an incredible tool to use the natural language that a business owner would use to describe themselves and just get that piece down. Okay, once we have it classified, let's ask the questions in a very streamlined fashion based upon what we know about the carrier appetite and the questions that they need to ask, so that it isn't this long drawn out application. It's very condensed and gets them to a point of being able to review a bindable proposal with their customer.
And how long does that process take?
So on average, early on, it would take, there was this McKinsey study way back that we used to put in our decks early on that, hey, it can take, weeks and weeks, sometimes 20 weeks with a more complex account. A couple years ago, we got it down to a week, and now we have it down to a couple days or even minutes, depending on the class that it can be bound. Most things now that fall into that small commercial, that are the products that are integrated through the APIs, it's a couple minutes to get a quote back. So it's a huge time savings.
So you're making the agent look really good. I mean, it's conceivable that he or she could do it on the phone with the prospect.
Yeah, that's the slam dunk, and that's the idea. Because with the prospect, the thing that I just think back to my days as an agent, you would have them on the phone, you'd tell them, hey, I'm going to go fill out some applications. I'll get back to you in a few days, and give you a status update. But now we give them the ability to set real expectations and say, hey, I just need a few pieces of information. We're going to have a few proposals here that we can go over right here on the phone, and we can get this done. Because the reality is, when somebody's looking for insurance, they're not just looking with one agent. They're calling up their brother-in-law. They're going to a few different places. And if you can tell somebody confidently and set the expectations that, hey, I have a solution for you. I understand your business. I have the carriers that understand your business. They're going to buy from you. But if you can't do that in the first conversation, you're not stopping them from looking other places, and they will go other places.
Tell me what the carriers are saying. The carriers must be excited because it increases their deal flow, their traffic, right?
Correct. Yeah, the carriers are excited because, like I was saying before, they're getting the at-bats with the types of customers that they want, the types of customers that are profitable, and they're able to carve out their specific niche based off of what they're looking for and make sure that they're top of mind for their current agents, or even if they want to get access to more agents. A lot of carriers come to us and say, hey, we know we're not most agencies number one or number two, but we're kind of in that 3 or 4 spot, and we want to figure out how do we move up and be top of mind, and we can help them with that. When you're starting to talk about carriers that are more of the regional, like large super regionals, we can really help them make a dent and be top of mind and move up in the areas that they're looking for. So they're thrilled around that.
We've talked to a lot of insurance companies who really came on board thinking that they would be straight to consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out that they have really found most of their policies through agents. Some of these companies that were just going to sell online found that they really needed that agent market. What is your thought on that and the trend of trying to go direct to consumer versus using an agent?
Yeah, I think, listen, there's some classes of commercial that can be sold without an agent, but the reality is it's a small amount. Maybe you're photographers and you're single sole proprietor, massage therapist, things like that. You don't need the touch of an agent to get that policy in place. But when you start to talk about commercial, a little bit larger commercial,
right,
the agent is incredibly important. I mean, these are people's businesses. It's not it's not a $30,000 or $40,000 car that you're insuring. You're insuring their ability to pay for that car, ability to keep the employees employed and make sure you're protected. And I want as a business owner to talk to an agent, to know that you're making the right decision and get that stamp of approval and recommendation. Because
Right.
I think the thing that changes over time, the way that we arrive at a relationship with an agent changes. It's through a computer, it's over a phone, it's digital, but there's still an agent involved. An agent enhanced by technology, no doubt, but the agent is incredibly important and is a huge part, and they control the majority of the relationships out there, and I'm happy about it because it's a
Because
great.
that's a really hard part of it, is handling the relationship piece. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, you guys handle the kind of the black and white part of it, not not so much the emotional part. I absolutely concede the need on the agent side. Small business owners might be expert in running their business, but they have no idea. Where do you even start with commercial insurance? Where do you even start? We had one of the co-founders of Vouch Insurance
Mhm.
on, if you're familiar.
I am. Yep.
And in fact, you might even know him, Travis. And Vouch specializes in startups.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we talked about for startups, they don't even know where to start with insurance, and they have very unique needs, particularly startups in the tech world. But it's that way really for any business. I don't know what I need. What do I need? And so really, you kind of need somebody to tell you that.
Completely. I mean, you do. I look at a lot of agencies' websites, as my day ticks along, and sometimes I'm just like, guys, you're just missing it. People don't know what these insurance terms mean. You need to
Correct.
break it down. Be relatable and talk to your customers, because it is really intimidating for folks that don't live and breathe our world. They don't know our language, and they just want to be told, hey, I understand your business
Hmm.
because of the relationships that I have with my carriers and in the years that I've been in it. And I'm going to be able to make sure you're protected so you can go do what you do best. This is what I do best. You do what you do best, and everything's going to be okay because this is my world.
So I'm assuming that your technology enables the carrier to set parameters. I'm interested in this. I'm not interested in that. This is the profile and the range of the kind of potential customers that I'm interested in. Is that correct? Is that one of the things that your technology enables?
Yeah, that's correct. Whenever we bring on a new carrier partner, we map all of their appetite into our application. And also, in addition, all their questions that they need to bring back a rate. So all of that's, hard coded in and, can be easily updated as things change. But it allows them to just focus on the accounts that they're looking to grow in. And that's a hallmark of, whenever we stand up a new carrier that's going to have their products on our platform.
So I was watching some of your videos and you were talking about how you're actually directly connected to many of these carriers and agents so that you're able to quickly and accurately get the data to and from the different locations. Can you explain a little bit of that to us?
Sure. Yeah. So when we're talking about the exchange between our agents and carriers, they have what's called a terminal, and that's our software. And some of our enterprise level partners, we customize that terminal for them to put on specific carriers that they'd like, and put different rules around how they interact with those carriers. So the integrations, with each of our carrier partners that we bring on, any of our agents use, it's all done through APIs. I mean, in the old days, you, folks would screen scrape and be able to bring back an indication of what the quote's going to be. But we kind of put our foot down and said, hey, an indication, yeah, that's fine, but it really doesn't give the agent the whole picture, and it's oftentimes frustrating when they see one rate on the screen and then they get into the carrier portal and it's different, or it's not even eligible. So with every carrier partner that we have on our platform, they're all API integration. So it's a straight pipe right into the carrier to bring the rate and the whole proposal back. So that's one of the things that we've really emphasized is, hey, and we've emphasized it, and it's been one of the reasons why some carriers just aren't on the platform yet, because the technology just isn't there, and we're not really willing to do workarounds, because it's just not a great experience if you don't have the technology there to do it.
Let's talk COVID for a minute. I would think that you guys are a business that COVID would have had a positive impact on, if you will, so to speak.
Yeah, you'd be correct. Certainly, like everyone back in March, you're all kind of nervous. What's going to happen next? How big is this going to get? And we really have a front row seat to the commercial insurance world, because we operate the exchange. We see all those businesses come through on a monthly basis, and we did see a drop in April. But gosh, over the summer and into fall here, it has been just record month after record month in terms of businesses coming through the exchange, carriers saying, "Hey, we need to continue to grow. How do we get our products on here so that we can help be in front of these businesses as agents are quoting?" And then agents as well, looking at how they adjust their strategy to continue to attract new business and make those efficiencies gains while they're working digitally and from home, because the producers that were traditionally out in the field, well, now they're at a desk and they need to continue to have folks to talk to, ways to service those customers in an efficient fashion. So COVID, it's obviously been horrible what it's done
Sure.
to everyone's way of life, but it's been a catalyst for our business and kind of probably accelerated it a few years, honestly.
Though I think I understand what the answer to this is. Why small commercial?
Well, small commercial is really the place where you have the highest need to be, and I think we touched on it earlier, you have the highest need to be really efficient, because the premium dollars, they aren't super high, but it is where the highest concentration of number of businesses are. And if you can be efficient with a large number of businesses, you really have something. The census classifies a small business. There's something like 28 million small businesses in the United States. I mean, that's a huge number, under 500 employees. That's the place where, if you can create that efficiency, you can help agents, Main Street agents, really grab a big piece of that pie and continue to be competitive and be really profitable with it. So that's why we like to play there, because we see the largest opportunity for agents to benefit from the efficiency that our software allows them to have.
So what do you do at Bold Penguin? What's your particular job?
So my role is the director of the agent terminal, and the reason for that is it's what I wish I had back when I was an agent. And I talk to agents all day about our software and just kind of just explain to them, why it's, well, I'm a salesperson at heart, but why this is critical to the future of their agency. You see so many agencies go from generation to generation, and it's great. But if you want to continue to grow, I firmly believe that having a software like this is what's going to take you to that next level and keep it in the family for generations to come.
I know that you guys are a little bit more than just, matchmaking and helping to write policies. Talked about some of your other, things that you guys do.
Yeah, some of the other things that we do, we build these enterprise terminals for carriers and brokers. I'm sure you've seen the work we've done with Nationwide and Progressive and Locked and Milo. When folks like that come to us, they say, "Hey, we're looking for that total solution. We want to be able to, power our .com, our storefront, our consumer facing portal. We want to be able to put a tool in our agents' hands so they can be efficient. We want to be able to leverage your exchange to receive the business that matches our appetite, but then also monetize the business that doesn't fit, or that we're spending marketing dollars that it doesn't fit our appetite." So it really is a holistic approach in that regard to helping a partner, at that enterprise level, really be efficient all the way around when it comes to commercial lines.
Right. I would think that for a carrier, that would be a great big potential waste opportunity to be quoting or looking at business that just doesn't fit.
Right, because everyone in commercial, everyone has their areas that they like to play. And that's why the fragmentation exists. So, if it's not a fit for you, better to pass on it, move on, and do the things that you like to focus on, just to keep pressing forward, because it's the old saying, you can't, it doesn't make sense to be a jack of all trades and master of none.
We, in Lee and I's day job, we work at 470 Claims. We're independent adjusters. We do property claims is primarily what we do, various services that perform on property claims. And one of our longtime great customers is an E&S company. Does E&S play a role in what you guys do?
I'm so glad you asked that. I can't believe I didn't think of that to bring that up sooner. It's one of the E&S plays a huge role, and we've been really proud to integrate that for some of our enterprise level partners, and it's going to be coming to our solution for our agents in 2021. But E&S, it's intimidating, right? Because it's a step outside of Main Street. It's all the fees and the documents attached to it. It's not easy. But we've put a ton of effort into understanding it, executing it, and making it easy for an agent that previously hasn't dabbled in that world. And I think
Right.
E&S is going to continue to be larger and larger. I mean, you look at states like Florida, that's all coastal, Texas. If you're a commercial agent down there, 80% of what you're writing is in the non-admitted markets. So that's a big part of Bold Penguin's future as we continue to move up market into other areas of opportunity.
Bold Penguin. I've racked my brains. Why Bold Penguin? Where did that come? What's the origin story of Bold Penguin? And I've thought to myself, okay, maybe that's some terminology from the small commercial world, right? Because you said you guys several of you have small commercial backgrounds.
Yep.
Founded the company. Maybe it's that, and maybe you're trying to do something bold in that. I don't know, but we're all ears. Tell us the origin story of the name.
Yeah, I'll give you the background on it. I think it grew on me after my partner Ilya came up with it. I was like, Bold Penguin, really? That's what I was like. I guess people won't forget it, and that's one of the pros of it. You don't forget it. But the origin of it, Ilya was actually watching. I think it was a documentary on the Discovery Channel around the time we were trying to think of a name for our company. We knew, hey, it's insurance. Everyone has an animal. Nationwide has the eagle. Geico has the gecko. We need an animal too. But he was looking, watching this documentary. And have you ever seen how penguins, they'll shuffle towards the end of an iceberg, and there's always one penguin that jumps in the water first to see if there's fish or if there's danger from a shark or a sea lion. We were just so blown away by, man, that is a crazy, crazy penguin to just dive in to uncertainty like that, take a look around and make sure it's safe for all of their friends to jump in. And that's how we kind of see, what we're doing in commercial insurance. We're pushing the boundaries. We're leading with technology, making sure that it's easy for folks to adopt and jump in, and kind of breaking the trail so they have an easier path to understand small commercial and continue to be successful at it. But that's where it came from. I wish it was something more complex than that, but we think what we're doing is it's bold and exciting, and it's a great time to be in insurance.
Last question has to do with Chris Cheatham and Risk Genius. From your guys' side, we've talked to Chris about why the acquisition occurred and some of the thinking behind it. What's your take on that? What does Risk Genius acquisition mean to Bold Penguin?
Bold Penguin is obviously really good at, you've said it earlier, matchmaking and having those connections that come in. But what we're missing is really that deep understanding of the policy information, and helping our agent partners and our carrier partners understand what's in the policy quickly, make comparisons, make intelligent decisions. And by acquiring Risk Genius, it brings in, first and foremost, a great team of people, incredibly intelligent people that are now part of our organization. But it accelerates that for us dramatically, and it'll allow us to move up market and just help our customers make more informed decisions, both on the agent side and the carrier side, because the details in insurance are absolutely everything. And Risk Genius does a better job understanding that than anyone else, and it's a great addition.
we were thrilled to hear about it. And now that we know more about your guys' company, we're even happier for Chris and you guys. And we look forward to learning more about Bold Penguin and to being invited to your headquarters in Columbus and
Absolutely.
having a party for us when we get there, of course. That
Abs-
goes
party.
without saying. Big party.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as we get past the
As
COVID
soon
here,
as-
I can't wait to be back in the office. It's nice seeing people on Zoom, but now
not
we
the
have
same.
not the same.
Not the same. Not
No.
the same.
Not the same.
Yeah, not
And
as fun.
But I will say one thing. When we come to Columbus and we have you guys on the show on a remote podcast, I'm not going to do your last name. I'm going to let you do it yourself.
That's a good idea, Rob.
Deal.
Thanks so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Lee,
Hey, Rob.
I've been waiting a long time to get Bold Penguin on. It was great to have him on. Thanks to Chris Cheatham for helping to make that happen.
Yeah.
It was great to hear from Mark. And I mean, these guys, I think, are kind of a powerhouse in the InsureTech world, right?
Yeah. I mean, they found a great niche and they are doing a great job with it. I mean, it's very important to get the right client to the right agent to the right carrier, and they are doing a wonderful job. It's really led by some really interesting guys and neat leadership. So I think it has a great future.
Yeah, agreed. One of the great things about this business is that whether you're an agent or whether you're a carrier, this is something that you'd have to be really excited about. This is like, yeah, let me on it.
Right.
Right. It's not like, well, we have to be there. We have to play on this platform because that's where the action is, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's a lot of benefits in this on both sides. That's a nice position to be in.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, you can tell that all of the co-founders were sellers as agents. They were all agents because they have marketed Bold Penguin just wonderfully. Everyone in the insurance space knows Bold Penguin. I mean, it's a great name. Even at the conferences, you see their T-shirts walking around. I mean, they're good salespeople.
I've seen the penguin walking around. So what you're trying to say is that marketers are maybe the most important people.
Well,
that's what you're trying to say here, and it's hard to argue with that, Lee.
Marketers are very important people.
You're so insightful.
I am.
Your vision on this is indisputable. So I'm just going to back away and trust that you're right about marketers and who they are and what they can do for people. Let's just all soak that in for a moment.
Okay. Thank you, marketer Rob.
Well, that's a coincidence.
Yeah. Just
one has nothing to do with the other.
That's what you do. That's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. The difference is that they do it well.
Yeah. They're good at it.
They're good. That's a big difference. We thank Marc DeLeonibus. I thank you for being with us today, and for Bold Penguin for providing one of their co-founders to give us a great introduction to the company. And thanks to our production team for everything they do. And we'll leave by saying what we have said over 100 times now, and that is,
goodbye, everybody.